Welcome to the True YouTube Moderator channel, where I identify problems with the YouTube systems and offer realistic solutions to those issues. This video has been in the works far longer than it should have, but every time I thought I had the entire story put together, a new chapter would need to be created. But now, I believe I'm at a point where I can properly explain why the anti-bot union isn't my favorite group of people in both actions and attitude. This topic was initially suggested to me by a viewer who's gone by many names, but currently seems to be just a full stop. If you have any topics you'd like me to look into, feel free to suggest them in the comments below. Now, I do want to be clear here. This video is not for blindly spouting hatred towards a group/individual. I'd rather not go down that path. Instead, I want to clearly articulate the problems I have with the group, why I see them as problems, and at the end give advice on what they could do to improve. I hope that the members of the group will show me the same courtesy if they watch this video, and I would like them to watch it, as I do have a proposition for them at the end that they may be interested in. I'm getting ahead of myself, so let's just start from the beginning. To provide a brief background for anyone unfamiliar with the channel, the Anti-Bot Union is a group of individuals who worked towards the goal of fixing Me at the Zoo sub-to-sub spam and getting rid of the comment bots, virus links, etc. Their activities typically consisted of raids, where they would go on mass reporting sprees, attempt to convince people to stop spamming, and other actions. The group currently sits at 1,000 subscribers, which is quite large considering the circumstances. Now, before you say it, yes, I do see the irony of not being happy with a channel whose goal it is to make a part of this website better. In any other situation, I'd be in full support of it. But the thing is, I'm not interested in goals I see as doomed to fail. I made a whole video explaining why Me at the Zoo couldn't be fixed, and through my research of the group, I haven't found any options they've attempted that would actually make a difference. Rather than essentially repeat what I said in my original video, I think I'll sum it up like this. I've identified 4 key issues that any suggested solution needs to get past in order to be effective. If it can't get past one of the issues, let alone all 4, then it's not going to solve the problem. The first issue is that the option is unrealistic. This basically applies to any issue where it's either not possible in its entirety or it may work in the short term, but can't be done over a long period, and that's what we want to do. We want a permanent solution. The second one is that the option doesn't resolve the root cause of the problem. Now, the root cause of this problem is the spammers themselves, so while some options may help relieve the problem slightly, unless we deal with that specific factor, it won't actually fix it. The third one is that the option may cause more harm than good. No point shooting ourselves in the foot to make progress. If it could guarantee the problem would get solved, that'd be one thing. But typically in my experience, the option that fails this criteria also happens to fail another, so it's never worth it. And lastly, an option may fail simply because YouTube doesn't care. They hadn't cared for over a year, and chances are they don't care now. This point will be brought back up later, but for now, let's just show all the options on screen. With this, we can add every option that has been used by the Anti-Bot Union sorted by why they fail. And for good measure, let's include some that I've suggested myself, and a few that have been suggested in the past by commenters on my channel. As you can see, every single one of them fails at least one criteria, though often they fail multiple. If you think you can somehow suggest something that gets past all the criteria, feel free to post a comment. But so far, I am convinced that at this time, it's not possible, and thus trying to fix Me at the Zoo is just a doomed goal not worth fighting for. Want to know what annoys me more than a doomed goal, though? Fighting for a doomed goal while doing a terrible job of managing your group. What do I mean by this? Well, this mostly has to do with their Discord, which by the channel's videos indicate it got attacked multiple times. This is a very bad sign because whatever you're doing during their raids is making people angry. Not a great strategy when you want to gain the support of others for your cause. So they needed to stop this from happening. Fair enough. But rather than choosing some trustworthy admins to try and police this and prevent it from happening, they severely limit the access to the Discord and decide to ban anyone with an account less than a month old, including me when I wanted to try and participate in one of their raids with an incognito account. Word of advice, people really don't like it when you accuse them of something they have nothing to do with, especially without any sort of evidence. Not gonna lie, very disappointing. But while I did have access, I noticed one point of interest. I looked at everything I could on that Discord group, and I could not find a single piece of data they had recorded from their raids showing whether they were actually effective. Meaning that these videos, where they say good work and that the efforts were helping to improve things, had no proof to back up what they said. I would be happy for any member to present me with such data if it exists, but in its current absence, allow me to present my data. What some of you may know is that I also made a video showing off the data I collected on some sub-to-sub spammers and how long it took for them to get taken down back in February. In that video, I found that in the first month, only 4 out of the 86 channels I reported got taken down. It has now been roughly 10 months since that data was gathered, and I have been keeping tabs on it ever since on a monthly basis. In a perfect world, what we would like to see is a graph with this kind of shape. Getting rid of all the reported channels isn't necessary, but we should at least see the majority taken down in the first couple of months. Because while admittedly I only recorded channels if I'd reported 5 of their comments, on average it was more like reporting 15, so that should be enough to get a channel banned, right? This is what the data actually looks like. That's it. 15% in 10 months. And I can hear someone about to suggest that maybe I just suck at reporting people properly. To that I say, I live streamed the reporting sessions where I recorded this list of names. So you're free to judge for yourself whether I did a good job or not. But even if that were the case, surely the channel I showed with over 50 different spam comments should have been taken down. Now that one's still up? Fine. But you can't tell me that the reporting system works properly when I can find one of the spammers I previously reported leaving the same beggar comments 7 months after reporting them. I wish I were making that up. I wish that I had doctored this image to make things look worse than they really are. But this is a real, unedited screenshot, and it is the clearest indication I have that nothing's happening to these people. No strike, no warning, nothing meaningful being done to try get them to stop. This is how much my efforts really mattered. 15%. And I have a feeling that if the anti-bot union does have any data they'd like to share, it's not going to look much better. But the thing that annoys me the most is the anti-bot union's reaction to the change made to me at the zoo around the start of October. For those unaware, what happened was that unlike the previous changes to the About tab or adding a rickroll to the description, an actual positive change was made. The description was changed back to its original, and rather than sorting comments by newest first, it is now the standard setting of sorting by top rated comments. Unfortunately, I don't know who to give credit to. YouTube, a hacker, or maybe Jord himself. Regardless, many people, including the anti-bot union, now seem to believe that me at the zoo is finally fixed. Except that is absolutely not the case. What actually happened is that after waiting around 14 months for an improvement, what we got was a description change and someone essentially changing a 1 to a 0. That is literally the bare minimum. More importantly, it suffers from the same roadblocks as the other solutions I've listed. Namely that it doesn't solve the root cause of the problem, which is the spammers themselves, as I mentioned earlier. And what do you know, if you switch the settings back to newest first, you can plainly see that while at times it may appear to improve, in general it is still as bad as it was prior to the change. Meaning all it really does is act like a shoddy cover-up designed to keep people happy. And what, pray tell, do the anti-bot union do upon learning about this change? Rather than continue fighting for what they want, they decide that they've succeeded in their goal and effectively disband the group. Their leader literally stated that this farce of an improvement was a victory for them, and credited themselves for it when most likely they had nothing to do with it. I find that absolutely pathetic. Though I knew their goal was doomed, I could at least admire their intention before. But with how poorly the group was being run, the hostility from its members, the delusions that they're actually making a difference, and now this, what respect I had for them is now gone, and it deeply saddens me. That being said, it appears that there is a small group of individuals unrelated to the original channel trying to keep the group alive, and they seem to recognize that they haven't succeeded yet and want to continue their work. Though I don't expect much from them, I will be keeping an eye out. Who knows, maybe they'll do a better job of it. And to that end, now that I've discussed what I disliked about the original group, perhaps this feedback could help them out. Starting with the most important one, create a proper data record. You don't need anything fancy, just something that tells you whose comments you reported, when you reported them, whether the channels got taken down, and if so, when. If you want an example, the one I used is linked in my description. Just record the data and keep an eye on it over a few months. Using this, you will be able to provide actual proof on whether your actions are making a difference. The great thing about this is that the actual answer doesn't matter. If it shows you're successful, you can use that to convince people to stop spamming and to possibly gather more members. If it shows that you have no effect, then that indicates that there is a massive problem with YouTube's moderation system. With this and some other evidence, you can easily expose how terrible YouTube really is, which may also help you get support. Either way, you win. Once you have your data record set up, set a day each month to band together, raid the comments, and report as many people as you can for whatever amount of time you want. Though I'd recommend at least 2 hours for monthly raids and 1 for bi-monthly raids. The point is to be consistent. This was a problem I saw that the original group had, and it made things very confusing, so try and avoid that. Finally, whatever the original group did to anger people enough to have them attack the Discord group, maybe don't do that. I assume it's likely something that they said in response to one of the spammers got into an argument, something. Frankly, I never bothered replying to any spammers during my personal reporting sessions because I figured getting banned sends a stronger message. If you insist on sending messages to the spammers though, keep it simple. Basically start with asking if they're aware their messages can get them banned, and regardless of reply, just simply state, alright, as a member of the Anti-Bot Union, we're just trying to spread awareness in order to reduce the number of spam comments being left on the video, as we see it as disrespectful towards Jord, the creator of this video and one of YouTube's founders. While we cannot force you to stop, we do hope that you will. After that, report their comment and no further interaction is necessary. If they reply with genuine interest in the group or saying they'll stop, you can ask if they want to join in our efforts. But by the end of the discussion, you do need to encourage them to delete their previous spam comments. It's not helpful to try and recruit someone and then have their channel get banned. If you do these things, while it won't magically make your goal possible, it will help you appear more professional to those you interact with and likely result in more support for your operations. And now I ask whether any members of the Anti-Bot Union have made it this far. If so, I'd like to share the proposal I mentioned at the beginning of this video. I wish to work on organizing a raid on the Miyazu comments with you, and in return, you will assist me in my data collection. We set a time, report comments for a few hours, and then we review the data in a month or two and see what we get. If you're interested in my offer, feel free to contact me and we can negotiate a time and date. With that, I've said all I feel is necessary. While I may not believe their goal is possible, I believe that it benefits nobody to discourage them from trying. I want to say a quick thank you to my subscribers since I apparently reached 50 subs recently. I'm surprised I managed that due to my terrible upload schedule, but hopefully that means you're here because of the quality of my work, rather than quantity, and that's what I strive for. Thank you so much for watching, and let's strive to make YouTube the best it can be.